5 reasons why you should not move to Palatka, Florida. I'm Cody Bockheim with Real Broker, and of course, I want you to move to Palatka so I can sell you a house. But let's be honest, not everything in every town has sunshine and daisies, okay? There's negatives about everywhere. So we're going to go over them today, or at least the top 5 in my opinion. And, to decipher, is it still right for you? Are these things that you don't care about or things you can overcome? Okay, so our first one that I'm going to talk about is going to be the weather and Mother Nature. Okay, so if you're not from Florida or you haven't been here, it's a big adjustment if you're coming from somewhere else. For instance, I have family from Michigan that tried to move here. It didn't work for them, and vice versa. People from here try to move there, and you can't adjust sometimes. So, I suggest coming here and visiting and getting accustomed before you move here, definitely. But some people don't have that luxury. But so, for instance, the humidity, that's going to be the huge part. Okay, so in the summertime, it may feel like you're walking out in a sauna. There's thunderstorms all the time. You could be looking in your rearview mirror and it'd be beautiful. And you look ahead and you see it looks like Armageddon. So that happens a lot. You're going to be sweating a lot. Um, Along with that, you're going to have hail. So that can damage your roof. You got to worry about that. It's not that big of a deal, but it can. That's something as a homeowner you do have to think about. In winter, we really don't have winter here. So I can tell you many times as a kid growing up, I remember sweating on Christmas. So that's not a good feeling, but I was a little bit bigger, but still, you get the point. There are cold days and there's are stretches of cold for sure. And those days are beautiful. But they're sporadic, and you can't really account for them. Okay. So Mother Nature, along with the weather. Okay. So pollen, just recently, my whole car was covered in pollen, so when it comes full strength, and if that is something that affects you, you really don't wanna be here or at least figure out an area where there's less amount of trees, but it cakes up on things. People get sinus infections, seasonal allergies are crazy. People can't differentiate if they're sick or if they have a sinus issue, it's really annoying. And mosquitoes suck. Mosquitoes literally suck, but, they're everywhere here too, and so the only thing you could do, they breed in water, and the only thing you can do is make sure the water around you, you can, chemically treat it to prevent them from breeding, or you dump out old flower pots, but you can have a neighbor who is lazy and not care about their property as much as you do, and that could still affect you, so you can do all you can, and you can still have mosquitoes bothering you all the time that you can't stop from breeding right next door. And termites. So termites aren't your traditional bugs, so they're really the cleanest bug that I know. All they do is eat wood, and so that's really all they do. But they can eat your house, so that's something as a homeowner you definitely need to know. Um, there's companies all over Florida and other states. You get what's called a termite bond. They treat your house. The company treats your house, and it's basically an insurance policy that if they come, they'll come kill them for free upon a paid copay, whatever they may be. Every deal is different, but as long as you're a knowledgeable homeowner and proactive, it's definitely manageable. Okay, so number 2 is gonna be amenities, and so there's a lack of amenities here, and so we're gonna define amenities, as it is in the dictionary. So, a service or features that, enhance comfort, convenience, or enjoyment in a location. Okay, so that's a broad term, but so you get the idea. So, for instance, I'll talk about the food first. So, there's only 3 nationally recognized brands here, when it comes to the restaurants, and that would be Chili's, Beef O'Brady's, and just last year we got Longhorn. So, there are some regional restaurants like, Sonny's, but for the most part, you're gonna find local restaurants and fast food. There is only one Walmart in the whole county, so certain days that parking lot is, filled to the brim. So that's one thing to think about too. So there's no large malls, no movie theaters. Someone like me, I love to go to the sports bar, watch the game that's going on. So there are bars here to do that, but they're definitely limited on the options you can go to. All right, and our third one, we're going to talk about healthcare. So if you have a unique condition where you need to see a specialist, you may have a hard time finding that here, and you may have to travel to the outside counties to get that special treatment that is required. And there is only one hospital in the whole county. It's a little bit smaller, outdated, and limited resources. That's not a reflection on the people that work there, though. It's a smaller community hospital, and it does not have a dedicated delivery ward for you to give birth. So if that's something that you plan on doing, expanding your family while living here, I would suggest looking at other outside options around the county like me and my wife did. It's important to be comfortable. Also, a number of trauma victims that come there, do get life flighted to Gainesville or Jacksonville whenever it's a too critical of a situation. So, that's 45 minutes, that could determine on whether you live or die, unfortunately. All right, number 4, we're gonna talk about the job market. Okay, so traditionally and historically, Putnam County and Palatka, the local economy has been driven by agriculture and manufacturing jobs here. And then when you get into the volume of just jobs, there's a lot of retail and grocery jobs. And if you watch my videos at all, you know that Palatka is growing. With that, I've seen hiring as well for sheriff office, police, EMS, fire department. When it comes to growth and they build these emergency services, when you see these growths come up, things like these need to come first to match the citizens that are going to live there. So if your resume doesn't match any of those things that I named, you may have a harder time finding the job that's right for you if you move here. Okay, number 5, crime. Okay, so to be blunt, in the past, whenever speaking to people who do not live in Putnam County, when speaking to them, there's always been a negative connotation when you bring up Putnam or Palatka, for crime, just being blunt. But so I went to the FBI database or website with all with all the statistics, and I was actually surprised. I went back 10 years. That's as far as you can go. And I was really surprised at the amount of crime in the past and the amount of crime that went unresolved. But what I was really shocked at, that I looked in the past a couple years since 2020, a huge drop off, like significant. I'm going to post it here so you can see in a second. So, I still put it on here as a reason not to move here because, you can't just forget about the past. And yes, it looks like amazing trajectory, but you can't ignore what has happened. And obviously, like I said, surrounding counties have had a negative connotation before, but here's your evidence that things are changing. All right, so there you have it. You got my 5 reasons why you should not move here. So did that deter you at all? Do you want to come more? You know, Talk to me, reach out to me, ask me any questions you have. That is my job. If you have questions about a job, a certain school, neighborhood, anything like that, reach out. No bother. I'm Cody Bockheim with Real Broker. Until next time.